Michidini. I hear a lot of talk, read a lot of articles about universal basic income and how the leftists or the liberal Democrat Party is trying to implement it in their platform. I see there's some Republicans that like the idea because they feel like it could take away the food stamps, the SNAP. It could take away, any housing assistance and things in that nature. And the whole reason of bringing out the universal basic income would pretty much take away all the government assistance. Because the whole reason that they want to implement the universal basic income is to raise people's living conditions to a better standard. From what I've read and from what I've understood is that it should be able to take care of all your basic necessities as far as shelter, food, clothes, transportation, things in that nature. I think that's a great idea, but I don't think it's going to be such a great idea if we still have a capitalistic mindset in society. We would have to change the mindset in society to be more communistic, to be more commune, to be more group implemented. You know what I'm saying? To be more about the commune than more about capitalizing individualistically. I think that right now in our society, we live in a very individualistic, capitalistic society. And somebody's going to find a way to exploit the universal basic income in many ways, whether it be politically, economically, or, socially. They're going to exploit it because of the mindset we have in society is capitalistic. It's all about capitalizing, profiting, exploiting others in order to capitalize and profit. We would have to drastically change society's mindset in order to have that work. Because, you know, we won't, you can't live in a capitalistic, exploitative society and want to do good for the people and think that the good that you put out there to do for people is going to be okay in a capitalistic, exploitative society. It's going to destroy the people you're trying to help. It's the same thing with like the housing market, the housing crisis, right, in 2008, right? Let's give these people who have no credit or have bad credit, let's give them houses because we know that they have the cash to pay us. And who's not going to pay for their shelter, right? Who's not going to pay for the roof over their head? That's going to be the first thing they pay. So let's go ahead and just give them loans to buy a house. And eventually it came back to bite America on its ass because America is capitalistic, exploitative. It's not communistic. It's not about the commune. It's not about the people, really. It's about the dollar. So I think that universal basic income could be a great thing only if we change the mindset in society. You have different factors in society: political, economic, social, and in each of those factors, there's the stronger factor of the psychological part of it. There's the psychological part within politics. There's a psychological part within the social factor of society. There's the psychological part within economics within society. And if we can get that level, those levels, in those certain factors in society, certain sectors in society, if we can get those levels to be in a psychological sense, to be more about the people than a dollar, I think it'll work. I really would. For better conditions, what we do is very similar to universal basic income. We believe that people should raise their standard of living and the conditions of it. Better conditions, for better conditions. It's right in the name. But we try to implement a idea of a universal basic income, but we understand that it has to be up to the people to want to sacrifice for this. Because if the people are not going to want to sacrifice, it's not going to happen. If the people are not going to give in order to keep it running, it's not going to keep running. And if the people that's held accountable, such as myself, to make sure this runs properly and people can't hold me accountable, it's not going to work. I want to be held accountable for the organization, what I say the organization do, and what I say the money's going to be going to, and everything. You hold me accountable, and like I say all the time, you see what you give when it comes to For Better Conditions. If you see nothing, you gave nothing. If you gave something, you see something. That's just how it works. Universal basic income. In a capitalistic society, it could be very devastating for the recipients. It really could. You know, the reason why we need it, the question why we need it, is more important than the actual idea of the premise. For Better Conditions, we give that idea out in a different way, but still that same premise. But what's more important than that is the information that people receive with it. People receive that information. There's the website, it's my YouTube here, on why it's a revolution, on why it's important for the people. And that's the same thing that universal basic income would have to do, is more so put out why it's important. Get the information out there and make sure people don't exploit the universal basic income and try to use it for capitalistic gains or capitalistic means, because people get caught up in stuff and they'll forget why it's here in the first place, on why it's a people's thing in the first place, or why it's here to help the people in the first place. It's like credit unions. Credit unions supposed to help people build their credit, help people with no credit, right? But then you got a lot of these credit unions start acting like they're banks. They start acting like they're banks. Where you need credit now in order to open up an account. You need credit for them to deal with you on certain levels, and that's not how it's supposed to be. So they forgot why they're in the business in the first place. You see what I'm saying? So the information is important. The reason why it's important is more important than the actual idea of the universal basic income itself. For Better Conditions .org.webs.com. Support the cause. Donate what you can. You see what you give. You see nothing, you gave nothing. You give what you see what you give. That's how it is. And that's how it works. But at the same time, we give you that conscious information on why it's a revolution in the first place and why the people need it so dearly and so much. For Better Conditions .org.webs.com. Support the cause.